Hey, everybody. Welcome to this week's edition of Let's Talk Thursdays with Dr. Keela. And of course, I am your host, Dr. Keela, board certified family practitioner, speaker, and award winning author of Nia and the Numbers Game, A Teenager's Guide to Education, Relationships, and Sex. In honor of International Women's Month, I am going to be interviewing four amazing young ladies who are doing awesome things in the community. They are from various backgrounds. We're going to talk about what they're passionate about and any obstacles that they've overcome on their journey. Now, if you all did not see my previous Let's Talk Thursdays this month, I encourage you to check them out. Last week, I interviewed Anaga Rajesh from India, and today I am going to be interviewing Zayla Bryant. So let me get her on the live here. Hi there, Zayla. How are
Hey,
you?
I'm good. And yourself?
I am doing great. Instagram was being a little funny in the
Yes.
beginning here while I was trying to bring you on. Well, you look fabulous. How are you?
Thank you. I feel great. How about you? How are you feeling?
I am feeling pretty good. It's almost Friday. It's almost TGIF day.
Yes, can't wait. The weekend's
Now,
coming.
are you in your dorm room,
Dorm room?
Zayla?
No. Actually, I'm in my regular room. I am not at college yet. That happens this fall.
Okay. All right. So looking forward to it.
Right.
Let's get into your interview. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. So, hello, my name is Zayla Bryant. I am 18 years old and I am a senior at Arabian Mountain High School. And I'm also an alumni of the Harvard Debate Council Diversity Project, as well as a host on Comedy Hype on a segment called Hype 'em Up, and a co-founder of a nonprofit called the Scholar Social, and also a co-founder of the production company called Conversations Productions. Okay. And we just released a film last month called This Is Love. And if you guys want to see it, it's in my bio. It's on my Instagram page. And yeah.
You are a busy bee, Zayla. I love it. I love it. I mean, I'm wondering how far are you going to go, right? So tell us how old you are and tell us a little bit about your family.
Okay. Well, I said I'm 18 years old and I am the third child of four. I have two older brothers and one little sister, and my brothers are both Marines. They are 23 and 21 now. And then my little sister, she just turned 11. But I come from I come from a single parent household as of right now. And I don't know what else to say about that.
Well, let's talk about your work. I am so impressed. So number one, what inspired you to start your podcast? And then also, what is it like just day to day doing your work?
Okay. Well, this podcast was started by five individuals from the Harvard Diversity Project. It was me and Jayla, you interviewed first this month, Jonah Ruffin, Daya Brown, and Sinai Edwards. And so basically we all had this common idea that was taught to us, where we were taught to pay it forward. We were given the privilege of being a part of the Harvard Diversity Project and got the opportunity to experience things that people in our circle, and in our like worlds or whatever don't normally experience. So we thought, with the knowledge that we have now, with the training that we have now, what do we feel like we need to do to pay it forward? So we all thought that, right now there's a lot of commotion going on in the world, but we're all disconnected. So what if we could find a way to create a hub for like teenagers and young adults where we could speak about the things that are going on in this world, and have a place where our voices feel heard and we feel seen. So that's what the whole purpose of creating the Scholar Social was about. And then my day-to-day work, outside of doing like Scholar Social and like trying to work that, I also work with a bunch of other nonprofit organizations, and then I go back to Harvard every now and then to help the students. And basically, I'm just really into helping the youth and like creating a way for them to create powerful futures, because a lot of people don't recognize that students are like 20% of our population now, but they're 100% our future. And so that's an investment that people highly underestimate. So I'm willing to like take the time to really pay it forward for my people and for my generation, because I know that we'll eventually be the ones taking charge.
I love it, especially what you said about paying it forward and even going back to Harvard to speak to other students who are incoming. So it sounds like you already understand the concept of succession planning. Like once you guys graduate, move forward, go on with your careers, then you are making sure that you have other students coming behind you who are trained and who can keep this going.
Yes. Yes.
So tell me a little bit about Hype It Up.
Okay, so Hype 'em Up is this segment at the end or at the beginning of comedy hypes videos that they normally post. And basically that segment is just to shout out somebody for the culture, who's of our culture, who's doing something positive for the community, whether it be them creating music, helping with some kind of nonprofit, or creating art, or speaking about something, just anything that paints Black people in a positive light. So we just take a brief little moment to give them a shout out about what they're doing, and then it gives them a whole little blurb, just some more exposure. That's basically what it is.
I love it because you're focusing on the things that people are doing that's positive. Unfortunately, you know, the negativity gets entirely too much attention,
Yeah.
and in my opinion, and so I love what you're doing.
Yeah.
Now, tell me about this. With the work that you're doing with other students, what do you feel is a priority in teenage girls' lives?
A priority.
Mhm.
I I feel like a lot of teenage girls, the priority is trying to figure out just how to like find themselves in this world, whether that, and they find that in things that give them attention, so whether that be boys or school or whatever art they're more catered or curated to. I think the girls focus is on that. So it's kind of difficult, only because like I'm I'm in the process of like reevaluating what I consider to add worth to me, or to tell me what my worth is. So I know before it used to be like the boys, and I know it used to be the grade that I got on my test and all these other things, but now I'm kind of shifting so that I'm the one that's able to do that for myself.
Now, where are you getting the information from? Just talking with other girls in your peer group directly, or is it interactions on social media?
It's everywhere. Even like conversations with my friends, even eavesdropping on other people's conversations that happen to be really loud, or just seeing what images are portrayed on the internet. We see that what gets attention is when we pay attention to our vanity, and then girls are very much focused on how they're portrayed in the world so that they can get the attention that they want from the world. And I think that that is kind of counterintuitive to how we actually should value ourselves.
Okay. Now, you mentioned ear hustling or eavesdropping on other conversations. So I don't know, maybe you're a potential FBI agent in the future.
I promise I'm not gonna.
No. Interestingly enough, I had a new patient today whose daughter is a retired FBI agent. And
Really?
I asked the patient, she's an African American lady, I said, well, you know, is your daughter interested in potentially writing a book about her experiences being an FBI agent? So now, what are some of the things? Now, you mentioned that you feel girls are trying to figure out how to navigate the world, and some of that may involve doing things or getting involved with things that bring attention to them. So, and of course, we know attention can be either positive or negative.
Right.
And with Hype 'em Up, you're focused on the positive attention. Is
Yeah.
there anything that in your interactions with other young ladies that's common that you feel they're struggling with?
I think a lot of girls struggle with forging a community where they feel like they can be humble, open, and transparent, firstly. And secondly, I think a lot of girls struggle with finding positive ways to deal with stress and to deal with like when life doesn't go the way you seem like go the way that you like wanted it to. Just
Mm-hmm.
positive mechanisms to keep going. I don't think a lot of girls have that.
It sounds like what you're saying, and you correct me if I'm wrong, it seems that some of the young ladies are struggling with creating or finding a community that's a safe space for them.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Well, what's your safe space?
My safe space. Okay, I have a couple. So um I it took me a minute to learn, but the community that most people need is not the community that you're born with. It's the community that you create. And so with that, um the your first interviewee, Jayla Jackson, is actually one of my strongest members in my community, and her family are my community. And then, but above that, I think God is my community. So whenever I'm just like 100% confused, I pray first. I pray first before anything. And then after that, if I seek provision in a way that I'm not understanding from him, I go to my other communities that feel more tangible and more um, interactive. So outside of that, I write, and that's like my own
Okay.
personal kind of fortress, so that I see my thoughts play out rather than having them zoom past my head, because they're not like being processed, they're just being overwhelmed. Like it's just a bunch of confusion going on at once, where my system just starts to malfunction. So it's like, okay, you have to write it down so you can understand exactly what you're feeling. Then once you do that, you can find a way and make a plan as to how you can like get yourself out of the situation.
So it sounds like writing is a way for you to be emotionally healthy. Am I right?
Yes. Yes.
Do you write poetry, short stories, or is your writing basically just journaling?
I journal and I write poetry. I think poetry is the best way for me to communicate, because sometimes I don't have the words to exactly explain like logically what I'm thinking, but I know the feeling. So I can describe, like, if I'm feeling like hurt, I describe it as when you touch a flame, like it burns, it stings, like that emotional connection you have to that feeling is what I can write about. I can't tell you how I feel, but I can show you. So that's what I write.
Okay. Now, give me an example of an obstacle that you've recently overcome.
Uh, let's see. I've been overcoming a lot lately, only because I've been really focused on Issa Rae calls it a me season. So I've
Okay.
been going through my me season right now. And so I think one of the things that I've overcome recently is not allowing myself to like to um to voice my opinion and my emotions towards people that I love. It's because as I told you before, I come from a single parent household where I don't really have my father in my house, but I know that that has caused me to have some kind of abandonment trauma. So with that, I'm aware of how I can censor my words so it doesn't seem like people run away from me. But I understand now that like my feelings are just as valid and need to be heard just as much as the other individuals. And so recently I had the opportunity to actually share my emotions and voice my opinion about a situation. And it worked out. Like it worked out really well. So it wasn't, I just had to get over the barrier that I created for myself rather than anything else that other people have put in me. Because I realized that life is all about perception. It's not about what's actually there, because that depends on how you view it rather than how anybody else does.
Do you feel fully heard by your family?
Fully heard by my family. I think
Mhm.
that I am making noise. How about that? um, I think that being heard versus being understood are two different things. So
Okay.
I think I'm heard by my family, but I think there's like language barriers when it comes to being understood. And that's things that I am progressively working with my family and every individual in it. So yeah.
I want to ask you a follow-up question about your dad, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Is that okay? Earlier, you mentioned that you felt some sense of abandonment because you grew up in a single-parent home. Is your dad still alive?
Yes.
Okay, so potentially there's the possibility for you guys to forge a relationship.
Yes.
Is that something that you want and that your family is open to?
Yes, actually, the experience I was talking about was the first conversation that I've actually had with my dad since he's left. And so it was a very positive and like transformative conversation that wasn't based on like sugarcoating anyone's feelings. Like he told me exactly what was going on with him and how that happened and how that worked for him. And then I told him while he was gone what happened and how I felt and what I did and the mistakes that I made and the triumphs that I had. But at the end of the day, like I needed my dad. And I think that we both understood that. And we're both making progressive steps to get that relationship back to what it once was.
That is awesome. I'm glad I asked these follow-up questions. Great, great. Now, tell me, why do you love spoken word poetry so much?
um, I love spoken word because it's like poetry is like my love language because it's not
Mm.
something that a lot of people understand, but the people that do, they love it. It's not a lukewarm, it's not a liking, it's an admiration, it's a fathoming that people can't let go of. And so with that, I don't have to try to like find what like who might like this, where would this go, because there's always a place for it, no matter where, no matter what you say. Because even when I do speeches or when I create videos or when I do whatever it is I do, like spoken word poetry is always a tool that people use, and it's gravitational. Like people come and they're like
Mhm.
warped by it. And so outside of me being able to express myself in that way, I feel the most heard that way too, the most understood that way. So it's like it just works. Everything about it works.
Okay, I like that. I like that. Do you consider yourself to be a change maker?
I do. Now, what kind of change I'm making, I'm not quite sure. I just know that I'm like breaking the mold of what I used to think being successful was. And for me, being able to try out different things like film and actually publishing my poetry and writing essays and publishing essays, like just testing things outside of what I thought I was destined to do is
Hmm.
more, it's a humbling experience, and it's also an experience that allows other people to see my journey with me. So I think that I'm able to expand people's mindsets as well as mine as they watch, and I hope that I'm inspiring someone to do the same thing. Now that is what I consider myself, that is why I consider myself to be a change maker.
In essence, you are being the change that you want to see in the world.
Yep, nice little bow on it. Yes.
Yes. All right, to end this, Zayla, do you mind sharing some of your poetry?
I don't. Off the top of my head, I'm trying to think of one that I know. Hold on, let me see.
And it
Um,
doesn't have to be off the top of your head. If you have something that you can read, that's great too.
okay, give me 1 second. I have it right here.
Sure.
I just need to pull it up. Okay, this is a poem I actually recited over the weekend for my little sister's dance recital, and it's called Little Light. Okay. Little light, tell me why you always stand alone. Your fearsome fire deserves to be admired by those near and far. A light so fervent is urgent that you embrace all that you are. And there's no one way to be brilliant, so you shine bright and high. Don't be scared of the feet you'll reach when the ground seems out of reach, because you are meant to dance in the sky, to be seen shimmering and twirling to the tune of your own song and the rhythm of your own beat. Speak loudly and profoundly of who you have come to be. Cherish what you once were, for you are now being unveiled as a new creation, destined for great things. Nubian queen in the making, the crown is yours for the taking. That magic is something the world's got to have. So when you take center stage, embrace it, chase it, find your light, and never let anyone tame it, because it's yours. And if enough of us find our inner glow, we'll pave a path of purpose that'll map the prettiest constellation the universe has ever seen. So with that being said, Queen, are you ready for your revealing?
Love it. Love it. That is awesome. And I know your sister will never forget that moment.
Yes. She was so amazing. Oh, shout out to her. She did fire. She had so many solos and so many moments where she actually shined, which is why I wrote that poem, because it was for her. It was written about her. I was like, yeah.
Well, Zayla, I am so impressed. Young lady, you just keep shining bright yourself.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on Let's Talk Thursdays.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it a lot. Thank you.
All right. Take care. Everyone, this concludes this week's edition of Let's Talk Thursdays. And again, welcome Zayla Bryant. Awesome young lady and leader for the future. All right, everyone. Bye now.